Gary, it's great to be here. Let's see how that is. I thought I might try without a microphone. How does it sound without a mic?
No, you need it.
Right, okay, we'll go for it. Yeah, so Michelle Thomson, now, being very honest here, this is a new departure for me. All this kind of stuff about talking about independence. I describe myself as always politically aware, never politically active, but I personally just felt it was so important, this opportunity that Scotland has for me to stand up and say, I'm here, I want to be counted. Because by doing that, myself, my community, my colleagues, I give permission to other people as well. And for too long, in my opinion, too many people have sat by and accepted things. So please forgive me, I'm nowhere near as polished as all the information that Robin gave you there. I'll just tell you a wee bit about me though. When I was growing up, I was very comfortable with the knowledge, the words that was used around too wee, too poor, too stupid. That was part of the consciousness that I grew up with. After a while, I probably even stopped noticing it. When I got married, my father-in-law just said that to me because we started talking about politics. And I think, if anything, this is a time for us to say, what? That is absolutely ridiculous. And most ridiculous of all is that our fellow Scots of a certain generation still use that language. How's about that for a lack of confidence? Confidence is something that I think Robin was alluding to. Yes, we do need to be confident, and to be confident, we need to understand that confidence is about making a choice. When I was growing up, my father got me a job as a trainee clerkess. He was fair chuffed with himself. Got your job, got your job. I was actually quite irritated with him, that was the scope of his ambition for me. And I said, no, I'm not going to go and do that. I want to do something different. And at the time I had to say, no, I'm not going to do it. I had to have a level of self-confidence. And this is what we need to do just now. It's so important. So having confidence is about making a choice. Looking at this debate just now, one of the things I realise is just how deep the chasm is between the No campaign and ourselves, where they actively market, because I'm involved in various businesses, that the UK is okay. Well, whoop-de-doo. Who's going to jump up and down to that strapline? UK okay. Is that the best that they can come up with? It's absolutely unbelievable. And I tell you what, I want a lot more than okay for my family, for my future, for my fellow citizens. Absolutely outrageous. And of course, part of this okay is, oh, but by the way, have we told you about more cuts and more austerity? But we'll have lots more people in the House of Lords as well, so that it's even bigger than the two houses in the United States and the European Parliament. Completely ridiculous. So if we could choose a whole manner of things, why wouldn't we? If we could choose to set out the framework for our future in a constitution that enshrines the rights of all Scots, regardless of colour, creed, sexuality, why wouldn't we choose to do that? Why wouldn't we choose allowing the sovereign people of Scotland to make these choices and set out what we want? If we could choose to have a mature democracy where the government that we elect actually represents our interests, why wouldn't we do that? If we could choose not to have child poverty that is similar to some third world countries, why wouldn't we choose that? If we could choose to have our values represented in our civic society, why wouldn't we choose that? If we could choose quality jobs, not low paid, the sort of thing Robin was talking about, why wouldn't we choose to make that happen? If we could choose to get rid of weapons of mass destruction right next door to our biggest city, why wouldn't we choose that? If we could choose to get rid of taxes like the bedroom tax, why wouldn't we choose that? So let's look at some of these things around too poor, too stupid, too wee. Too poor. Well, let's remind ourselves. So we know from the government gathered figures that we get less tax back than we raise in Scotland. So every year we quite happily hand over money and get less of it back. What's that about? We know that even today, based on the figures, this is from GERS, that we would be the 8th wealthiest country in the world, as compared to the UK, it's 16th. And I would point out as well that these figures exclude things like that is gathered by Westminster, so it would probably be even more so. In terms of deficit, yes, the UK has a deficit, but Scotland's deficit is less than that of the UK. And of course, we are paying ridiculous amounts of interest on debt. In the last 30 years alone, we've paid £64.1 billion of interest on debt. And incidentally, when you look at our bottom line figures, it was money we didn't need to borrow in the first place. So too poor? No, don't think so. How about the too wee then? Actually, Scotland's a medium-sized country. And when you look at the top 10 wealthiest countries in the world, only 2 of them, Australia and America, are very large. All the rest are the typical smaller North European countries, Luxembourg, Sweden, and so on. Switzerland, I should have said. So how about the too stupid then? And sometimes you can forget, when you're surrounded by some of the stuff we hear in the media, how brilliant Scotland has been in shaping the world. Medicine, education, life sciences, economists. Look at Carney, the recent lunch there, which I was very fortunate to attend. He specifically mentioned one economist, and that was Merrilees, who chaired the Fiscal Commission working group. So, and of course we had a recent prize winner, the Nobel Prize as well. So what's this independence about to me? I have no truck with this term, ridiculous, about separatism. It's, of course, fundamentally its heart about separation. Yes, there's plans for a monarchy union, a currency union. I'm sure we'll come on to that later. Social unions will continue. And of course, as a geographical landmass, Britain's not going anywhere. Don't be fooled by this kind of talk, this sweet talk that we know is going to come our way from the UK parties around Devo Max, Devo Plus, Devo with knobs on. Let's just remind ourselves, so the Calman Commission that was set up in 2007 and delivering its final things via the Scotland Act is a meteoric rise from only 7% control over our fiscal levers to 15%. In other words, 85% still rests with Westminster. And that's taken from 2007 to allow us to introduce a different sort of stamp duty, land tax and so on. No, it's nowhere good enough. And of course, we actually have such a significant responsibility here, because many of the problems faced, to my mind, by Scotland are faced by many other areas of the UK. The Westminster system of government is fundamentally broken. It needs absolutely significant change. We are doing the rest of the UK a favour. Things must stop, they must change. And I think that would trigger positive change in other areas of the UK and incidentally in political parties as well. Everyone's just stuttering along blindly. It cannot carry on like this. And of course, there's roughly about 150 countries that have become independent since the end of the Second World War, and none of them have asked to go back. They can do it, so why can't we? So, taking words from Nicola Sturgeon, who spoke at the SNP conference, her words, which I thought were great, was Scotland should be an independent country, Scotland could be an independent country, Scotland must be an independent country. Thank you.